you've worked on more than a few Batman series, or in the Batman universe, I should say. Do you have a favorite and why?
Grayson, for sure. I just feel like it felt like such a challenge to make it work, and then I think we did. And I got to work with Tom, who's now become a really good friend of mine and is also a pretty big deal writer. But just working with Mikkel, it was just such a fresh, fun way to work. And DC was so open-minded about it. We're just like, I don't know, do whatever you want, and we did. Just did whatever we wanted, and we had so much fun with it. So, I mean, I just feel like I liked writing Nightwing, and obviously it's the same guy, but the sort of platform for what Nightwing is always sort of like, here's him basically doing Daredevil shit, except he doesn't have the cool job, right? Like, he's got the sticks like Daredevil, and he's in the city that's super rough, like Kitchen Bloodhaven. That's what Chuck set up, right? That's the idea. So I like it, but it doesn't allow for the sort of big swings that we were able to do with Grayson, and there were big changes in the setting and bringing in characters that you'd never seen Dick interact with before, like the spy side of DCU and all the Storm characters and stuff. Like it was just so much fun.
Did DC have an original pitch for that, or were you pitching them at that point?
So they had a version, and this is public knowledge, so I'm not speaking on term, but they were looking to do a different version of Nightwing. They didn't want to have him be like a urban vigilante guy. Originally, James Tynion was writing a version that was sort of like him as a cop, but like in a small town. And I think James ended up not being super happy with it or something, so he left and said, you know what, let's do something different. And so DC, I remember very distinctly, it was Valentine's Day, and Kate Hubert, who was the editor on the series, and called me and said, hey, we got to think of something to do with Nightwing. We probably need it by Monday. It was like a Friday. And there's like, we only have like one direction. And they were like, I don't know, maybe like an espionage thing or something. And so they were like, okay, cool. Let me know what you think of. And I was like, oh shit, I don't got nothing. But at the time I shared a studio with Chris Burnham, who was drawing Grant Morrison's Batman stuff. And sitting on Chris's desk was the design for the logo for Spiral. So, I'm walking out of the office that night, supposed to go for Valentine's Day. And I saw that Spiral symbol. I was like, wait, there we go. So that was my pitch. I wrote it up that weekend. I sent it in on that Monday. And I think by that Friday, I had the job. Maybe by that Thursday, I had the job. By that Friday, they called me and said, oh, we also gave the job to this guy, Tom King. Sorry. Then they were like, do you think you guys could work together? And I didn't know Tom at the time. And I was like, yeah, sure. Because they're like, he's a real spy. He actually was in the CIA. But all right, cool. Have him call me. And so he called me and we chatted out. I was like, yeah, I can work with this guy. And so that's how we did Grayson. It was a crazy, really freewheeling improvisational team up. And I think it's a book that neither Tom or I would do on our own, but like together we made a kind of unique version, I think.